The following program contains coarse language. Viewer discretion is advised.
Shout out to my people from Texas. I know y'all might remember this story. It's been about 4 years when I originally talked about this. I will post the link in the chat, in the channel also, so you'll be able to find it. I'll post it in the description box. I had to say that 3 times to get it right. About this little boy, I talked about this a while ago, and I'm going to tell y'all, I feel kind of vindicated because I said a lot of things that maybe I was speculating on. I felt some things. And now come to find out, when you get all of the information out there and it comes out in court, shout out to Dre the Dream. I see you, bro. Thank you. It finally comes out in court. And then you can look at my channel and say, this is why I don't have to do little to any retractions at all. Because I'm usually spot on about this type of stuff. I try not to speak on stuff that I don't know, but I got this one right. So let me give you guys the fair warning about my channel. Let me give you that one right there. Boom. Following video contains some strong language. So if you can't handle that, this video is intended for mature audiences. And mommy of 3, take it away.
Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, new website articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer.
So the source I'm using is Law and Crime because they're really good at what they do. So thank you, Law and Crime. Shout out to you guys. A 22-year-old man in Texas is going to spend the rest of his life behind bars because they've already sentenced him for killing a 4-year-old boy by the name of Cash Gernon, Gernon. We'll talk about that heifer here in a little bit. For killing a 4-year-old boy shortly after kidnapping him as he slept next to his twin brother. And it was creepy. I had the video. I'm not going to show that video. But in my original video, I actually did, right? So you guys can see that there. I posted the link in the chat. If you go back and watch that at a later point, it's about 1.5 hours long. So you guys can take a look at that. So Darian Brown, who is the fool right there. Let me back it up. This guy right here, what a very, very creepy individual. On Monday, admitted to fatally stabbing the child just minutes before jurors were able to select and decide whether he was guilty of murdering young Cash Gannon. It says Gannon. I think it's Gernon, Gernon. I don't think it's Gannon, if I'm not mistaken. This was back in 2021. So Darian Brown, who was facing a charge of capital murder, reached a deal with prosecutors. So he made a deal because I think they were trying to sentence him to death for what he did. So he came up with a deal and agreed to plead guilty to a lesser charge of first-degree murder in the boy's slayings. Following this formal plea agreement, Dallas County Judge Stephanie N. Huff immediately ordered Brown to serve a sentence of life in state correctional facility though the convicted killer will have the opportunity for parole. Why did they add that in there? I think that was really just because of the deal he made, and this made this a solid case that he's not going to be able to come out of or appeal from. I really think that's what their goal is, just to make sure they don't have any appeals and have to undo what they've done. As Law and Crime previously reported, Cash's body was found in the 7500 block of Saddle Ridge Drive. So I don't know if anybody in Dallas knows that area. About a half mile from his family's home in Dallas on May 15th of 2021. Authorities say they obtained surveillance footage showing Brown grabbing Cash as he slept in a crib next to his twin brother. So basically, people found the dead baby bled to death in the street. Just so you guys understand, I know that's graphic, but just understand what this baby went through, okay? Just keep that in your forethought. Brown carried Cash for about 8 blocks, then repeatedly stabbed the boy until ultimately killing him before dropping his body in the middle of the street. The jogger who came across the boy's body said he initially thought it was the body of an animal before he realized there was actually a human child. I remember looking at the poor body and I remember seeing ants on the bottom of his feet, she told the news, adding that she cannot unsee what she saw. The closer the closer I get to it, I can tell it's a human body because I can see a hand and I see legs. That's very traumatizing. I have 3 kids, and to see a child covered in blood in the middle of the street is truly traumatizing. That's from the jogger. And an additional video obtained by the authorities reportedly showed Brown returning to the boy's room after Cash was already dead. Y'all catch that? On video, he came back after the murder and was hovering over the crib and presumably contemplating stealing Cash's twin brother, but ultimately deciding against doing that. Brown was arrested hours after the boy's body was found. In addition to the incriminating surveillance footage, authorities said that 3 items recovered from Brown's room all tested positive for the victim's blood. Those items were a pair of black sunglasses, a black Adidas hoodie like the one worn by the kidnapper in the surveillance footage, right there, and a pair of black tennis shoes. Brown was also accused of attempting to take another child several months earlier. Let me say that again. He was accused of taking or trying or contemplating about taking another child earlier in February of 2021, but the alleged victim declined to press charges. This is why it's important to go ahead and just go through the process and press charges. Maybe that could have saved this child, but they neglected to do that. Therefore, you have this insane idiot who went out there and committed murder and was thinking about doing it again. Just some unhinged individuals. Now, according to the affidavit obtained by the news, Brown made his way into a man's home and began to rifle through various rooms and closets. The man claimed that he picked up a kitchen knife and brandished it in Brown's direction while demanding that the suspect leave the premises. The defendant allegedly left after that, but only briefly. And according to the affidavit, Brown returned and began kicking at an interior door between the house and the garage on the property, prompting the homeowner to open the door to see what was going on. After that, the man claimed Brown punched him in the forehead. And this is why I believe in staying strapped and especially having weapons to protect your family in your home. I'm sorry, but there's a good chance that if I would have been in this scenario, I would have put this fool down permanently. I'm not encouraging people to break the law. Understand your laws, understand your rights. So I'm not encouraging anybody to do anything, but what I am saying is protect yourself and your family legally. The homeowner, a grandfather, claimed that Brown then walked into the living room where his 2-year-old granddaughter was sleeping. Brown allegedly grabbed the girl and tried to take her away towards the laundry room. The man said he first pleaded with Brown to let the girl go, but was ignored. The girl was then ripped from Brown's grasp by the grandfather, according to the affidavit. In a statement to police, the man said his grandfather was startled and began crying when she awoke to Brown holding her. The grandfather initially declined to press charges after Brown apologized. But to be real with y'all, he was probably afraid. He was probably just scared. He was sorry for breaking into the house and trying to take his grandchild, police reports said, describing Brown's apology that reportedly occurred 2 weeks after the alleged attempt kidnapping. After Cash Gernon was killed, however, the grandfather of the 2-year-old girl decided to press charges. And this is why I believe that when it comes to most of these situations, and this is where I think my channel is different than anybody else's, I don't believe in any leniency when it comes to kids, right? They cannot speak for themselves, nor can they defend themselves against any type of tyranny. And y'all probably get sick of me saying that. But I say it all the time, I mean it, and I hope that that actually means something to somebody else. You cannot be lenient with people who do this stuff to kids. That type of mentality cannot be rehabilitated. It cannot be fixed. It just needs to be punished. And that's just the end of it. It just needs to be punished. Let me give you guys the fair usage before I show you the news videos, and they'll go from there. Let's get it. Here we go. Let's get it.
Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107.
For those of you guys can hear the sound of my voice, if you'll do me a favor, please smash that thumbs up. I promise you it helps us more than you know. It'll bring more people to the channel, bring more awareness. More people can see the video. So here we go. Let's get it.
We are going to go on the record in cause number F21 75987, styled the state of Texas versus Darian Ronell Brown. Is that your name, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a United States citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
You're charged by indictment with the offense of capital murder. The state has filed a motion asking that I strike certain language and reduce this case to a first-degree felony of murder, which I granted. That makes your range of punishment anywhere between 5 years up to 99 years or life in prison. Do you understand the offense you're charged with and the range of punishment you now face?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you read, did your attorney explain, and did you understand everything you signed today in connection with this case, including the court's written admonishments regarding your statutory and constitutional rights and the indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
You have an absolute right to a jury trial, which we are set for today, but it is my understanding that you want to waive and give up that right today to enter a plea of guilty. Is that in fact what you want to do?
Yes, Your Honor.
And are you doing so, waiving your right to a jury trial, both knowingly and voluntarily?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may arraign your client.
Judge, we'll waive reading of the indictment and enter a plea of guilty to the lesser included offense of murder, Your Honor.
Your attorney has pled guilty on your behalf to the lesser included offense. Is that in fact your plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you pleading guilty because you are guilty and for no other reason?
Yes, Your Honor.
State.
State up for States Exhibit 1, defendant's signed written voluntary judicial confession and stipulation of evidence, and States Exhibit 2, the Michael Morton paperwork.
No objection, Your Honor.
As opposed to offering States Exhibits 1 and 2, do you want the court to take judicial notice of them?
We do.
Any objection from the defense?
No objection, Your Honor.
The court will take notice. State rest.
We rest.
Defense also rests and closed, Judge.
Do you believe your client is mentally competent?
I do, Your Honor.
And is there any reason at law that he cannot now be sentenced?
There is not. Judge, just out of abundance of caution, I just want to make sure I want to call him briefly just for an admonishment on the plea itself.
That is fine. Mr. Brown, if you could raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you can put your hand down. Proceed when you're ready, Mr.
Thank you, Judge. Now, Darren, you understand that we're in trial today, right?
Yes.
And initially, we had planned to go forward on the insanity defense, right?
Yes.
We really believed that we could win on the insanity defense, right?
Yes.
But after looking at some of the evidence, some of the other doctors' reports and things of that nature, you decided that you wanted to accept responsibility and plead guilty to murder. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you understand we could still go to trial, right?
Yes.
But that's not what you want to do.
That's not what I want to do.
Okay. And again, this is a decision that we talked about, and this is how you want to handle your case.
Yes.
All right. That's all I have to say.
Then the court will accept your plea of guilty, and I find you guilty of the first-degree felony offense of murder as included in the indictment. It is hereby the order, judgment, and decree of this court that you be taken by the Dallas County Sheriff and safely there held until your transfer to the institutional division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, where you will serve a life sentence. That sentence is imposed to begin today, but you will get credit for your back time, and the court will make an affirmative finding in this case of a deadly weapon, to it a knife. Is that the plea agreement as you understood it?
Yes.
Yes.
Because I
Yeah.
followed your plea agreement, you have effectively waived your right of appeal, and the court has received a copy of the trial court certification regarding your right of appeal. It bears your signature, indicating you went over it with your attorney. So that will conclude these proceedings. We are off the record. and we're prepared for victim impact at this time.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. You may be seated,
Just
Mr.
have a
Brown.
seat.
We have three, Your Honor.
Proceed when you're ready, State.
But first, the trial starting for a man accused of snatching a little boy from his bed and killing him. Our Chris Sadeghi is following that case. He joins me live with new developments this Monday. Chris, what's the latest?
Well, Mark, this has been a 4-year wait to get to this day and a lot of courtroom battles in between. But the man charged with killing a 4-year-old boy will stand trial. And today, attorneys began the task of selecting a jury. It was in May of 2021 when young Cash Gernon was taken from his bedroom, later found stabbed to death just blocks away from his home in southwest Dallas. The man police say is responsible, Darren Brown, was initially declared incompetent to stand trial by a Dallas County judge. But earlier this year, that decision was reversed when a court ruled that Brown's competency was restored while receiving treatment at the facility where he was kept. He is charged with capital murder, and shortly after his arrest, Brown's attorneys indicated they would pursue an insanity defense. Today, the courtroom is closed to cameras due to jury selection, but we will be following this trial day to day once testimony begins. Mark, back to you.
The state of Texas versus Darian Ronell Brown. Is that your name, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Just before his trial was set to begin Monday.
Judge, we'll waive reading of the indictment and enter a plea of guilty to the lesser included offense of murder, Your Honor.
Is that in fact your plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Darian Brown, now 22 years old, admitted to killing 4-year-old Cash Gernon in May of 2021.
Are you pleading guilty because you are guilty and for no other reason?
Yes, Your Honor.
According to court records, on May 15, 2021, a woman was walking when she saw the little boy's body laying in a puddle of blood with multiple stab wounds. Surveillance footage would later show earlier that morning the child was removed from his crib and carried away while he was sleeping by a then unknown male.
Do you believe your client is mentally competent?
I do, Your Honor.
In 2022, a court ruled Brown was incompetent to stand trial, but that decision was reversed this year since he was receiving treatment. On Monday, after entering the guilty plea, Brown's attorney, Heath Harris, made a point to speak with his client before the court, stating that they had planned to argue an insanity defense and believed they could win, but decided to plea after seeing some of the evidence.
Now, you understand we could still go to trial, right?
Yes.
But that's not what you want to do.
That's not what I want to do.
Brown's plea means there's no trial.
This message is for Darian Brown.
But there were sentiments shared from little Cash's family members who have been trying to figure out how to live without him, including his twin brother.
They never got to experience the first day of kindergarten together because you took Cash's life before he was ever able to even step foot in a school.
In Dallas.
There are no words to describe the pain that you have brought onto our family.
I'm Morgan Young.
In a Dallas courtroom, a dramatic turn of events as a man about to go to trial for murdering a 4-year-old pleads guilty.
But after looking at some of the evidence, some of the other doctors' reports and things of that nature, you decided that you wanted to accept responsibility and plead guilty to murder. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's Darian Brown telling the judge his guilty plea to murdering Cash Gernon 4 years ago. Investigators say Brown took the young child from his crib while he was asleep, then stabbed the child to death, leaving his body in a southeast Dallas street down the block from the family's home. Lawyers read statements from the young victim's family.
There are no words to describe the pain that you have brought onto our family. I hate you with every part of my being. You murdered our little boy, stabbing him over and over again and left him lying on the street like he was garbage. Cash will never have a first day of school or graduate or go to his high school prom or college. He'll never get to have children or a family of his own. You took that from him.
The state has filed a motion.
Brown's attorneys were initially pursuing an insanity defense, but a judge ruled him competent to stand trial, leading to today's guilty plea. Brown was sentenced to life in prison for the crime.
Like, I feel like it should be used properly, but in this case, I believe, in my opinion, that he knew exactly what he was doing. I just think I wish I'd see in more cases where people didn't get this insanity plea and get off from the evil things that they do. They're allowed to be free and be in our society. And already he had things that he had been accused of doing, attempts that he had attempted before. This is just who he is. He exemplified that in his behavior, and he definitely should have to suffer behind that. So I'm not going to even go all the way back into the the situation with her, how he even got access, how he even got familiar with the family or anything like that. If you guys want me to revisit that or something, maybe we can. But I'd rather you, because I spent so much time researching that and gave an excellent commentary in my original video. The link will be in the description box of this video after we conclude, but you can go back and watch my original video on this. So I think that that's about as much justice as you could possibly do. What this man did was flat out evil. He is the devil, and he needs to be with his maker as soon as possible, right? At the bottom. So thank you guys so much. Thank you for listening to Cash Gernon's story and for listening with an open mind as well as an open heart. But that's going to conclude it. Y'all keep a prayer hands up and continue to pray for his brother that he can grow up and become something great, knowing that he's going to be missing another piece of himself, okay? But thank you guys for listening. That's to complete this saga, okay? Thank you.